going to share 4 things which will help you make the most of your money. Now, I'm not saying that people should not buy ice cream. I'm not saying that people should not buy KFC. It's your choice. Remember I said earlier on you have decisions to make. That's a choice that you have. But what you need to know is that in buying the KFC or buying the IROC sandwich or buying the Subway, which one will be to my advantage? Which one will be better for me? Should I spend my money on KFC or should I spend my money at the opening an account, a savings account? As somebody said, I think 2 or 3 people said they're going to save some money. No, that's a decision you will have to make. If you really want to get into business, if you really want to make money work for you, you have to be able to make those decisions. Now, one of the things that you have to bear in mind is that you have to be able to try and spend less. These days, everybody is cutting back. Everybody needs to cut back. I'm sure you must have heard this term before. We're talking about economic meltdown. We're talking about economic, what term they use? Depression. So everybody is cutting back on their expenditure. So it means that people now begin to separate their needs from their wants. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
There is a difference between a need and a want. And I think I heard one of the students mention that this morning. You buy what you need and not necessarily what you want. Because what you want may not be what you need. And what you want may not be the best for you. Oh, I want KFC. But do you need KFC? That's the question. Hey, you see the pipe head there? And what is flowing out of it? Money. Now, that talks, they give a term, they use that term, liquidity. It's like when you open a tap, what comes out of it? Water. It's a liquid, right? So that means when you save, you are putting yourself in a position where you can have money available to do what you need. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Some people save, that means they don't spend all their money, so that they could have access to money for future consumption. That's why we save. So we could have access to the money for later. And they also want to be in a position to take advantage of the opportunities that may arise from time to time. That's why you save. Opportunities will come. Right now you are at school. But the opportunity will come when you will want to go on a trip somewhere, someday. And if you have been saving now, by the time that the opportunity comes by, you will have some money aside for that trip. Or you may want to go and study later on. And always think about how can you contribute to your future. Most times people don't think about that. They think, well, right now, there is scholarship all over the place. People are offering scholarships, so by the time my time comes around, I will get a scholarship. Who says so? Maybe by the time when you are ready to go and study, there are no more scholarships. What do? Can't go. But if you start thinking, no, I am going to contribute to my studies, to my future, I'm going to save now for that. So when the time comes, if you don't get a scholarship, and if your father and your mother cannot help you, but you have a start, then you can go to the credit union and say, well, the loans manager, you can tell the loan manager, well, I have been saving regularly, diligently, and now I have X amount of money, and I need Y amount of money. How are you going to help me? Then they'll talk about giving you a loan. But you see, because you have money in the society, in the savings, then you can talk big. Then you can talk about taking a loan. Because you have something that you can use it to bargain. So it's important that you start thinking about saving. Now people also save. People also save so that when emergencies come around, that they have money. What are some of the emergencies that people have? Huh? You could lose your job, and that calls for serious thinking. Because in America, thousands of people lost their jobs. Not because they didn't want to work, not because of their own free will, but because of the situation, the economic situation. How would it feel? You go to bed tonight, and next day, when you get up, somebody comes and tells you, well, I'm sorry, no more work for you. That's a funny and terrible feeling. And you're not going to get a paycheck. You're not going to get a pay packet for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Your customer buying what you want. Your customer buying what you need. But for the next 6 months, you're not going to be able to buy anything because you're not getting any money. And that is an emergency. So people have to start thinking about this thing and save for that. You also save because you may have a serious or tragic situation in your life. And that calls for a lot of money. You may suffer the loss of property. You may have an accident, injury, and that is calling for emergency. And that means you need to have money so that you can recover. You also save so that you can purchase assets. Anybody tell me what I mean by that? An asset? What is an asset? Anybody heard the word before? No. Have you heard the word before? Oh yes, yes, somebody. What do you understand by that?
Assets are things you own.
Things you
own.
Okay. What assets do you have?
Well, I have my cell phone.
You have a cell phone. That's your asset, yes. What again?
I have well, my body parts of things like that. I have my books, my bag,
yes.
my hair,
your clothes, your shoes.
My
yes,
shoes.
Yes. Okay. What else you have at home that's yours? It's your asset. Okay? So this building is the asset, an asset of the public service union. All the chairs, that's the asset. Right? The tables. Everything that they have in this building belongs to them. It is their asset. Right? You have a school bag full of expensive books. That's your asset. These are your assets. You own this thing. They belong to you. Okay. Now, what are some of the assets that people purchase? Like a car. I'll give you an example there. Okay? You can purchase a car later on. That's an asset. It's yours. You can purchase a home. What else can you purchase? Land. What else can you purchase? That can become an asset. People can purchase businesses. Equipment, that's right. Equipment. You can purchase a backhoe. You leave school and you become a mechanic. And you want to go into the business of heavy equipment. Oh boy, we always have slides in the country, so I will invest in a big equipment. A backhoe, or a caterpillar, or a big trailer truck. So you invest in these things and they become assets, okay? That's why we save, so we can purchase assets later on. That's very important. Okay.